Indian economic development. So, what is an economic development? The economy is regulated by the government. Economy of any country is regulated by government. How the government will regulate them? So there are two factors to regulate the economy of any country. We have two factors. One we have is the market driven economy. And the second we have is the regulated or the control economy. So market driven economy is of capitalistic form. And if the economy is regulated or controlled, then it is of socialist economy. How market control economy? Now suppose if a pen cost rupees 10, but if the same pen become rare, prices will go up and the same pen will now cost rupees 20. Similarly, in case of oxygen cylinders in COVID times, prices will go up. So market driven economy is profit oriented. And if the economy is regulated or controlled by the government, then the government is like parent. And they are here to work for people. Example of a socialist economy is Russia, China. Here the government will control. And in case of India, Indian economy is a mixed economy. That is balance of both. Now if in case of market driven economy, since their objective is profit maximization, so the government will impose tax on them. In capitalist, so what capitalists believe is they believe in profit maximization, and it can be by establishing business or enterprise, and their objective is making the profit. In 17th century, when we have industrial revolution, we believe in enterprises and business will grow up. So the goal of the capitalistic is profit maximization. Now government can make the rules. So on this basis, if they are highly regulated toward the business or the enterprises, these rules are highly regulated. Towards business or enterprises, then we have capitalist economy. And if these rules, government make the rules, and if it will give free hand to the business or the enterprises, then we have socialist economy. In capitalist economy, their focus is or the goal is on profit maximization. So they can make the profit in two ways. They have two tendencies to make the profit. First, they can use the exploitative tendencies. Or they can use some innovation technology or innovation. How they can use exploitative tendencies? It can be by workforce. If a person are working for 16 hours, and the company will pay the wages for 8 hours. So they can use the workforce exploitative tendencies. Similarly, they can use the environmental exploitation tendencies. How they can how they can exploit the environment? If they discharge the waste in the river, so they are using they are hampering our environment. And the second way to profit maximization is the innovation. In innovative tendencies, they will spend in research and development. They will spend in research and development, skill development. Even they can upgrade their technology. now, if a company is using the exploitative tendencies, so this is known as the these tendencies are used in chronic capitalism. It is a part of crony capitalism. And now, if the same company is using some innovative tendencies, research and development, technology upgradation, so this is compensate compassionate capitalism. In socialist, socialist economics, state controlled, they are state controlled, and they believe in doctrine of welfare state. That is, they will keep check on regulating industries, price regulated industries, product regulated industries, salaries, services related industries. Now the question is, from where the government earns. So any government will earn from taxes, or they can borrow. And they will use this for the welfare of people. From where the government will earn taxes? Government will put taxes on the private enterprises, and will use them for welfare of people. So the schemes we hear on daily basis, they are for the welfare of the people, and some of these schemes are, we have for how home, we have PM Awas Yojana, for drinking water, we have हर घर नल से जल, for electricity, we have सौभाग्य योजना, education, we have a right to education, for food we have National Food Security Mission, midday meal scheme, we have National Food Security Mission, for sanitation we have Swachh Bharat Mission, So these are for public welfare. So profit maximization is the goal of Indian economy from the enterprises, but not through the exploitative tendencies. Rather, in case of the Indian economy, they will follow the compensate innovative tendencies and the research and development technologies. So the government will collect tax, government will impose more taxes. If the company is earn more profit, then the government will impose more taxes and it will use for welfare of people. Now we have four sectors of economy. In in a economy we have four sectors. First we have the private sector. In private sector, ownership is with the individual or a group of individual can own. Ownership is with individual or group of individual. That is in some company firm they are owned by the individual or a group of people own them. The second we have the government sector. In government sector, the ownership is with the government or the public. Example of these: highway, railway, police, defense. These are of government sector. We have police, defense, railway. So in government sector, they cannot discriminate with peoples on the basis of religion, race, caste. And the third we have the household sector. In household sector, a group of persons who normally live together and take food from common kitchen. Now, if people are living in under the same roof and having the food from the common kitchen, so they will constitute to a household sector. And the fourth sector we have is external sector. Now, a person A is employed in the government sector. For example, in railways. So A's household income is from the government sector. A's household income is from government sector. And if a person B has on the private sector, If you own the private sector, example Reliance, so in Reliance Industries, so they, if they make some profit, so they will not only invest in profit maximization, it will curb some for the household salary, uh, and rest of them can be used in the market to maximize their profit, but he will use some for their consumption. And similarly, if a person is working in the private sector, so his household income is from the private sector. Now, every enterprises have four factors of production. In production, we have four factors of production. One is the land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur. How these enterprises work? So, an entrepreneur will take the risk and reward with the profit. We have four factors. So, the entrepreneur will take risk. He will take risk and reward with profit. And he will invest some capital and over he will pay some interest. Capital is his investment. Third, he will need some natural resources like land. So for land he will pay rent. And the fourth factor is the labor. And labor will give service. And in return they will get wages. So these are the four factors upon which production is dependent. So the output of every enterprise is goods and services. goods and services. Now they will produce two type of the goods. One is the intermediate goods and the second one is the final goods. And the second we have final goods. Intermediate goods which are not used by they are used by the another industries, that is they can be used by another industries. That is they cannot be consumed directly. If a factory A, their production is to produce flour from wheat, now this flour can be used directly, but it can be used for factory B can use this flour to make bread. Similarly, if the company A is producing iron ore, is extracting the iron ore, and factory B is separating the iron from the iron ore, and factory C will use the iron for making the car, fridge, and in case of final goods, so they will one will purchase them directly, can be purchased directly. So final goods are of two types. One is consumption good and the second is capital good. Final goods are of two type. First is for consumption and the second are for capital, for the capital, that is capital goods. Now consumption goods are the goods which are consumed by the consumer or meet the intermediate need of the consumer are known as the consumption good, and they are of three types. First, they can be durable, they can be non-durable, and they can be of service. In case of durable consumption goods, the consumption goods which do not get exhausted immediately but last and they will last over a period of time. So these are known as the consumer durable. Life of the consumer durables is generally more than the 3 years. So the durable goods have the life more than 3 years. Example of these are the home appliance, furniture, cars, TV, and non-durable consumer consumption goods are the goods which get consumed immediately and whose life is generally less than 3 years. Life is less than 3 years. Example of these are fuel, paper, clothes. And in case of services, services are the intangible and a kind of the consumption goods only, as it is consumed immediately. For example, education, banking, healthcare, education, banking, healthcare, and the second we have the capital goods. Capital goods which will create some return on investment. They will create return on investment. Example of this is tractor. It will be used in the agriculture field and it will generate profit. And why it is a part of the final good? Because it cannot be transformed, so it is a part of a final good. And it is providing some returns, so it is capital goods. So capital goods are the goods that will be capital in nature only if possess the following characters. So it will have the some durable output, and while acting as an input, it does not transform or consumed, and it will give some return. Now the output of an economy is production. Output of any economy is of production. But how we measure this production? Is there any method to measure this production? How to measure this production? That is how much production happen in any country. How to measure? Now to measure this, we have some methods. Now this how these methods get evolved. Economic activity of any economy is of doing the production. Now we have to measure the production, and where this production is happening? In factories. So now what we will do, we will collect the data from the factories. So we will collect data from all factories, F1, F2, F3, F4 and Fn. How many factories we have? We will collect the data from all of these factories. Who will collect this data? Data is collected by Ministry of Corporate Affairs. will provide us the data from all factories. Now suppose F1 is the factory which will produce having the production of steel. Another factory F2 is producing freeze. We have third factory having the production of wheat, and a factory F4 having the production of bread. Now it can also be possible that the F2 factory will take the steel from the factory F1 and will use it in the freeze making. It can be possible. And now let's suppose the factory F1 given the data that it has produced X metric ton of steels, and F2 factory have given the data that here it has produced Y metric ton. So there can be some double count error can be happen here, since F1 production is consumed by F2. Is consumed by the factory F2. So there is a value addition. They have added some value. Since there is happening some value addition, so we will find a method of gross value addition. To curb the double count error. Now the double count error, if production of all the factories counted, final production will be counted. So we will take the data from the factories or the final goods and services only. Data is of final goods and services. Factories data is of final goods and services. That is, it will give us final production, so economic activity is measured as GDP. How? So economic activity is measured as GDP. How it will get measured? GDP, that is the gross domestic production. Here gross means India whole factory data is collected. Domestic means that is it is produced within the Indian, domestically it is produced in India. And why production? Since it is data of production. So what GDP stands now? So GDP is Measure of final goods and services. It will measure final goods of services produced within India. It is produced domestically or economically within the territory of India. In a given period of time. एक गिवन टाइम पीरियड में इंडिया की ही डोमेस्टिक टेरिटरी में कितनी गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज फाइनल प्रोडक्शन हो रहा है, उसका मेजरमेंट इज नोन एज जीडीपी, ग्रॉस डोमेस्टिक प्रोडक्शन. नाउ द क्वेश्चन इज, if the Indians are working in other countries, Indians are working in America or Europe or any foreign countries, so that it will part of GDP. Will it be? Is a part of India's GDP? No. Since they are producing outside the Indian territory, not in Indian territory. So all the Indian nationals are working, are making how much production is known as gross national product. Now if we count all the Indian nationals, how much production is known as gross national product. Gross national product. So gross national product is the total market value of all the final goods and the services produced within India and outside India. Is within India plus outside India. But they are produced by Indians. So this is known as gross national product. Now if a foreigner is working, if an Indian is working outside the country, so it will not a part of GDP, but it will be a part of our GNP, gross national product. Since the production is happening outside the India, but it is made by the Indians, so it is a part of gross national product. So gross national product is equal to our GDP. That is how we are producing in our domestic country, in the territory of our India, plus it is the net factor income from abroad. GDP plus minus net factor of income from abroad. In case of India, since India is having the highest remittances, so it will always positive. What is net factor income from abroad? Now there are some Indians in foreigner, and there are some foreigners in India. The Indians which are in foreign countries, they will send money to India in form of remittances. If the foreigners working in India, they will send remittances to their country. Difference between them is the net factor income from the abroad. That how much remittances we are getting from the foreigners and how much remittances the foreigner get to their countries. So the difference between them is known as the net factor income from abroad. So our GDP and how much remittances, that is the net factor income from abroad, how much remittances coming to India and sent back to the foreigners, difference of them, that is net factor income from abroad, will make our gross national product, that is GNP. And if we have to count the net domestic product of our country, then we will subtract the depreciation from our GDP. Depreciation is the wearing and the tearing cost of the product. Now if the production of our country is, that is our wearing tearing cost are cutting down from our GDP, it will give us the net domestic product. And similarly, if we cut the depreciation from the gross national product, we will get our net national gross national product. If we cut the depreciation, we will get net national product. In factories, we will have production tax, production subsidy, product tax, and the production subsidy. How they differ from each other? We will have production tax, production subsidy, product tax, and product subsidy. What government will do if a factory is establishing? Government will provide subsidy on electricity, provide subsidy on land, water. And now if the same company having the high carbon footprint, so government will also impose tax. That is the carbon tax, sin-good tax. So these tax are on the factory's production. So if the government is imposing the tax on the factory, so it is the production tax, and if the government is providing the subsidy, then it is the production subsidy. That is, they are on the factor cost. Now since the production has done, so now it will be sent to the market for sale. On which there will be excise duty, we have custom duty, we have state VAT, and similarly we have subsidies. So these taxes are imposed on the product, that is the tax on product. Similarly we have the subsidies. So the product tax and the product subsidies are imposed on market cost when they are sent to the market for sale. Now since the data of the factories in the value addition is measured as the gross value addition, so gross value addition on basic price will be equal to the gross value addition on factor cost, having the four factors: land, labor, capital, and price. And we have production tax, and we will subtract the production subsidies which we will get from the government. In case of India, the production tax and the production subsidies, the difference between them are negligible. In India, that is, it is almost zero. So gross value addition or basic price is equal to gross value addition on factor cost. And if we have to count the GDP at market cost, GDP at market cost, then it will be equal to the gross value addition over the basic price, and we have some tax on the product, and we have some subsidies over the product, so we will subtract the subsidies. This is the method of mapping the GDP at the market price.